All right, dude, we are live. What's up, guys? This is Dem Keys, and well, it's been holy shit. It's been 2 weeks, I think, since I last streamed, or maybe 10 days. I think I'm not sure. It's been a time. I've had some stuff that came up because of which I wasn't able to keep up with usual my regularly scheduled programming, I guess. Um, but yeah, dude, if I would have had um the TTS thing set up, then I think I would have been able to stream. It's just that I got busy with a bunch of different things, and well, I wasn't able to get to it. But yes, I do need to work on the TTS program, or at the very least get something bare bones up and running temporarily, so that I can do at the very least mute streams. Well, AI voice streams, not mute streams necessarily, but AI voice streams. Um, yeah, dude, it's been it's been crazy. I've been doing a bunch of things. I even actually I've been doing a bunch of electronics related stuff, a bunch of robotics related stuff as well, and there's a bunch of more robotics related stuff for me to do. There's a project that I have to work on that has to be ready within a month and a half, and I have no idea if I'm going to be able to finish it. I need to sit down and write ideas for this project, and I need to make sure that I keep the scope small enough that I'm actually able to finish it. I'm actually able to accomplish it. Um, Before that, actually, no, nothing before that. Like after that, I have to start prototyping the thing. I'm also gonna need to, because this is an electronics project, and it's gonna heavily involve microcontrollers and modules that interact with microcontrollers. So I'm also gonna have to learn how to do the actual communication, which fortunately, because all of these protocols are already implemented, fortunately, it's as simple as wiring the modules properly, and then using the appropriate library, because majority of the time, if you're using a module that is widely known, most of the time there's a decent chance there's going to be someone who has implemented a library for it, and so you can just use their code. So as long as you have done the wiring properly and added any extra components if they are required, like for example, certain modules might require like a voltage divider. Um, One of them, which is an RF related module, I forgot what the reason was, but it requires you to put I think it's called a decoupling capacitor somewhere within the wiring. So there's a bunch of like those specifics that you have to watch out for. But fortunately, there's tons of projects that people have done already online, so you can just study those, and you'll know that, hey, if I'm using this module, then there's these specific things I need to worry about. Okay, there's also parts that I need to order. I ordered a bunch of parts, dude. I wish I had started doing the webcam streams so I could show you guys the stuff that I had ordered. I ordered a bunch of like robotics related stuff, and something that I was extremely excited for, optocouplers. I don't remember if I mentioned this. I don't think I streamed since they arrived. Yeah, I think my last stream was before they arrived. So my optocouplers arrived, and I even tested them out. I tested them out with a simple LED circuit. So I set up a circuit where on one side on the infrared LED side. So okay, the optocoupler itself, it has an LED inside. I believe it's an infrared LED, and on that's on one side, and then on the other side is a photo transistor. So this transistor reacts to light. So usually a transistor has, um, it, if we're talking about a BJT transistor, it has a collector, a base, and emitter. So it has collector, base, and emitter pins, is what I'm saying. It has those three pins. In a phototransistor, the base pin it's activated through light. So what happens is the infrared LED controls whether this phototransistor allows current to pass through or not. So because of that, you can use it as sort of a switch without actually connecting the two together. So while maintaining isolation between the two circuits. In this way, you can control the infrared LED through something like a microcontroller, or in my case, I was just using a regular uh, battery pack and switch and resistor. You can control a whole other circuit from a whole other circuit without both the circuits actually being connected together, without them needing to share common ground, and without needing to worry about, various complications that arise from combining two circuits together. It's great. It's amazing. It is going to help me so much with hacking electronics that I've been wanting to do for so long. And I kind of already started like looking into a bunch of stuff. Dude, I need a new soldering iron. My Okay, so my soldering iron itself is great. I mean, it's okay. It gets the job done, right? It's the soldering iron tip that I need to change. And because I need to change the tip, it's better if I just change the iron. Let me explain what the issue is. So the soldering iron itself is great. It's amazing, right? But this is not a temperature regulated soldering iron. It's one of those soldering irons where you plug it into the socket, and it's going to start heating the tip, right? And it's going to continue heating the tip as long as you have it plugged in. If you want it to stop, you need to unplug it. And I've been using this soldering iron on and off for years, and it works great. But the problem is with its operation. It's the fact that um, the thing isn't temperature regulated, so it doesn't it doesn't really stop. It doesn't stop heating up the tip. And soldering iron tips, if you heat them too much, you're gonna ruin the material on them, and eventually they're gonna get to a point where they become useless because they don't transfer heat as well. And or well, they either don't transfer heat that well, or they'll and I mean, this kind of counts as not transferring heat well, but basically they'll either completely stop transferring heat, or they'll do this thing where they won't transfer heat for a while until the thing gets incredibly hot, where it's like like bad kind of hot, like really really hot, way more than the surface and the components and all are able to handle. And then it's going to transfer the heat, and then that's just going to destroy components and the connectors and stuff like that. So that's a decent sign that you're not getting proper heat transfer. And that's going to happen no matter how much flux you use. I mean, obviously you need flux to get rid of the oxidation on the surface, but there's only so much that you can do if you've got a bad tip. So I kind of want to get a new soldering iron. I've also been doing more soldering practice because this project that I plan on working on, it's going to require me to solder a couple of things together into one circuit. So I'm planning on building a robot for this project. I might actually do a bunch of the programming on stream. Hopefully, if I've started doing the webcam streams by then, I don't know how I'm gonna go about doing this because I don't have that many. What do you call it? I don't have that many USB ports. I also don't have a decent USB hub that I could use. I don't want to use one of the cheap USB hubs because when you start putting a lot of load on them, then they heat up. The cheap ones, as it is, their circuitry is not that great, and they're definitely not powered. So I need to get a powered USB hub because what I'm going to be connecting is, at the very least, I'm going to be connecting my audio interface and the webcam. But there's also going to be a couple of other things that I need to connect in, and so I wanna get something that's powered. But yeah, I don't know. I do wanna do. I mean, dude, to be fair, I can still do the programming for the bot um, on stream. You guys just won't be seeing. Um, you guys just won't be seeing a feed of it. Or another thing I could do is I could set up um, the entire thing on. Oh, dude, I could do that. You know what? I could try doing that. So I had this idea. Like, okay, if I'm doing ESP32 programming, I'm not going to be doing it on my Windows machine. It's going to be on one of my Linux machines. The setup is just so much more simpler there, and it's a lot easier to work with. And I've set up these tool chains before in the past, and it's great. It's awesome. I would much rather do all of this stuff on Linux rather than do it on Windows. So I'm more comfortable doing ESP32 stuff on Linux. So what I was thinking is, if I'm planning on sending, let's say I decide to send the webcam feed from my Linux machine to my Windows machine instead of connecting the webcam directly to my Windows machine, there would be a bit of a lag, right? Um, I would also be sending, because I'm doing the ESP32 programming on the Linux machine, I would also be sending that feed along with the webcam feed, right? So then that can be part of the lag as well. So it's both of those things are going to be coming in a little bit later. And then the only thing remaining is the audio interface. So if I can manage to connect my audio interface to my Linux machine and have the machine recognize the interface, then I can use my mic there. And then pretty much what I'm going to be doing is um, sending the RTMP feed containing, I believe it contains, I believe it supports audio as well. But yeah, pretty much what I'm going to be doing is sending the entire RTMP stream containing the webcam feed, the ESP32 coding feed, and the audio feed as well, all through RTMP, and then it'll be streamed off of my Windows machine. I could do that. I could set something like that up. That could work. Because I mean, anyways, I'm gonna have to do the ESP32 programming on the Linux machine. So there's going to be an RTMP feed required, regardless whether I'm doing the webcam feed or not. And because I'm streaming it off of the Linux machine anyways, or because I'm sending the RTMP feed from the Linux machine anyways, I might as well put in the webcam feed as well, right? But yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to see how to go about doing that. Um, yeah, yeah. There's a fair bit of ESP32 related programming that I need to do. There's a lot that I need to learn. Um, I I I know a bunch already, but I wouldn't say that, I know a whole lot. There's still tons and tons of stuff that I have to learn. I have like zero experience when it comes to any kind of serial communication, be it synchronous or asynchronous. I have like zero experience with actually using those protocols. So I need to start doing that as well. There's a couple of parts that I need to order. Um, I okay, so I ordered servo motors off of AliExpress, and at the time I didn't think about the fact that, hey, maybe it's not a good idea to power the servo motors off of the ESP32, because that's a whole motor that's gonna pull a lot of current, right? And the ESP32 pins, they're not rated for very high current. There's also the fact that, like, the servo itself, like, there's servo motors, they come with certain types of circuitry in them, and so there's communication that you have to do with the servo motor. um, I forgot why I was mentioning that. I was also going to mention this thing about, like, the motor itself sending current back, but, like, with servo, I don't know to what extent you need to worry about that, but with a regular DC motor, yeah, you would need to worry about that. So my point is, I purchased the servo motors. I didn't think about purchasing a driver module for it. At the time, I didn't think about that. And so later on, I was like, shit, maybe I should be ordering a driver module as well. So I'm going to do that uh, for both the servos and for the DC motors that I have. I'm going to order a couple of driver modules. The next challenge there is, you still don't want to be powering these things through the ESP32, right? You don't want you don't want to be pulling current from the ESP32. So even if you have the driver module, in the driver module, despite the fact that it's connected to the ESP32, there's going to be a separate section where you can put in external and where you can connect an external power source. So the idea is that you're supposed to have an external 5-volt source which you connect into the module, and then you connect the ground from this driver module to your ESP32, so it forms like one big circuit there. And this way, the ESP32 is powered by whatever other source you're connecting it to, and then the driver module is powered by whatever other source you're connecting it to. What I eventually want to do is I want to power multiple of those things from the same source, because the same source is, it's decent depending on what you're trying to do, because, like, servo motors, depending on what you're trying to do, uh, they can pull a lot of current, they can put a lot of load on the circuit, or no, on the source. So um, but still, I feel like I can get away with just one power source. In this case, the power source is supposed to be either a phone charger or a power bank, but basically it's supposed to be a 5-volt source. And what I want to do is I want to power both the ESP32 and the driver module through that one source. So they're both going to be powered separately, but they're going to be powered from the same source. So this way, the driver module is not pulling current from the ESP32, and we won't need to worry about any damage occurring to the ESP32. And in order to do that, I'm also ordering USB breakout boards. These are basically just boards that split up the USB connection. So a very basic connection. I don't know if I don't know what, other than these four. I'm sure there are a bunch more. depending on what kind of pin you are using, but you have basic four connections, which are your VCC and two data pins, and then ground. Right, that's the four basic connections. But like with the newer pins, you have a lot more as well. But these four basic things, these four basic pins, the breakout board is going to allow you to have these four pins as separate connections. So you can plug it into like a circuit or plug it into a breadboard or something, and then you can you know connect something to it very easily. It's kind of like if you cut if you cut the wire of your phone charger, and you try to use the wires like bare bones. It's kind of like that, except it's a little more, elegant, I guess. It's a little less messy, basically. It's a little less. It's a lot less messy, actually, because I don't want to have to destroy a cable just so I can get connections off of it. I would rather use one of these modules and then be able to connect something into it without destroying a cable each time. So yeah, I'm going to be ordering a couple of those as well. Why was I talking about this? I mean, okay, dude, for the past, I don't know, 1 or 2 weeks, I've been busy with this stuff. There's been a bunch of other stuff that I've been busy with as well. I've been doing a bunch of research. Unfortunately, I haven't been doing too much of deep learning research because I got busy with a bunch of other things. But I've been doing research. I've been doing research, and we are going to be getting back to our deep learning stuff as well. Um, we still need to start learning how to use convolutional neural networks, and then move on to recurrent neural networks, and then explore transformers. And there were a couple of other things as well. Did I write it down here? I think I wrote it down in this notebook. Maybe let's go down here and see. Give me a second. Yeah, let's. Oh yeah, I remember I'd asked. I think I'd asked DeepSeek the question, or I'd asked one of the other. I don't remember which model it was, but I'd asked one of the models this question about. Um, I don't remember what the question was, but it was something along the lines of what other architectures are there, and what tasks are they able to solve, and like what subjects do they come under, and stuff like that. And it gave a pretty detailed answer, and I remember specifically picking out subjects and the tasks that they accomplish. So yeah, we have a list here. We have a list of stuff. We'll get into that list later. For the time being, the more the highest priority is being given to these basic architectures: feed-forward neural network, convolutional neural network, and recurrent neural networks. And then we're going to move on to more advanced stuff, which is transformers, autoencoders, and then there's a bunch of other stuff here as well. Which, dude, I found out that there's a PyTorch. PyTorch has a reinforcement learning library as well. Let me bring it up here. Hold on. I don't know if I spoke about this previously. I think maybe I did. I don't remember. I don't remember if I even looked it up on stream. I did look this up, and that's why I know about it. But I don't remember if I looked it up on stream. Give me a second. Um, Torch RL. Yeah, here it is. I don't know if this is a new thing, or if it's been around for a while, but it's um, it's an active development. Yeah, I don't remember if I opened this up at no on. I don't remember if I opened this up on stream or not. So here it is. This is I think it's called Torch RL. Am I wrong? No, it's called Torch RL. It says this is a modular, primitive first, Python first PyTorch library for reinforcement learning. Key features: Python first, designed with Python as the primary language for ease of use and flexibility. Efficient, optimized for performance to support demanding RL research applications. Modular, customizable, extensible. Highly modular architecture allows for easy swapping, transformation, or creation of new components. Documented. Thorough documentation ensures that users can quickly understand and utilize the library. Tested and reusable functionals. Provides a set of highly reusable functions for cost functions, returns, and data processing. So this is great. The reason I looked into whether there was something PyTorch related when it came to reinforcement learning is because I've been using PyTorch, right? And I plan on sticking with PyTorch, and exploring as much of PyTorch related stuff as I can. And so when it came to reinforcement learning, I was like, let's see if there is something reinforcement learning related, because I hadn't seen reinforcement learning being mentioned in PyTorch a whole lot, but maybe there were certain functions within the PyTorch library with which you could build a sort of reinforcement learning framework. But there wasn't like directly, a reinforcement learning section. So I was like, hey, what gives? Like what's going on with reinforcement learning? For those of you who don't know, the idea with reinforcement learning is you basically you make the model learn by telling it that, hey, this is wrong or this is right. That's pretty much it. Now, how you go about implementing this, that's on you. But the basic idea is that you for lack of a better term, I think it's better explained in the way that you give it a reward for doing something right, and you give it a punishment for not doing something right. So this way, the model learns. And then on top of that, there's another thing that's being used quite extensively now. It's called reinforcement learning with human feedback. I haven't looked too deep into how that works, but yeah, that's a thing as well. Okay, so um, yeah, like I was saying, this is, as far as I know, this is in active development. It is actively being developed, and when it comes to robotics related stuff, reinforcement learning does get mentioned a bunch. So I was like, yeah, let's explore this as well. There's a whole like tutorial section here. You know what? At some point we could try exploring this. Yeah, we could try exploring this. Though for now, actually, you know what? Okay, so what I was planning on doing was, today I was gonna continue with that list of questions that I had, which was, let me copy it and then drop it into DeepSeek. So wait, give me a second. Okay, right. So let me drop the question in here. So this is a whole long prompt that I made, because I find that each time I have to ask DeepSeek to explain. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, I've been trying to get a deeper understanding of how feed forward neural networks, not how they work necessarily, but how they understand things, how they understand the data that's being fed into them. How do they extract features from that data? How do they transform the data? What does it get transformed into? Is there a way that we can visualize those features? How does the network decide on which features it's supposed to be extracting, and how the network's architecture, so like the number of layers and the number of neurons per layer and stuff, how these things impact how the neural network sees stuff. All of these questions, I have these questions about, like I've been trying to understand all of these things. I've been trying to get a deeper understanding of feed forward neural networks. And I figured the best way to get that understanding is to ask a large language model, because I can present it as, hey, here's an explanation. This is what I know about this subject so far, and this is what I'm trying to learn. And I also have a list of questions, so go ahead and answer them if you can. And yeah, it's been helpful. Like each time I put in the prompt, I get a bunch of different. Well, okay, I get I get a lot of the same information, but presented in different ways. And each time it gives a little more extra information relating to this. Now, okay, we could do this, or we could jump into TorchRL. It says here that to install TorchRL, oh shit, I missed the ad timer. So there's going to be an ad playing in, okay, now. There's an ad playing now. So I'll see you guys in 30 seconds. Okay, I think we are back from the ads. Yeah, yeah, I think so. Um, what was I saying? I think I was talking about installing Torch RL in this notebook. Yeah, yeah. You know what? Let's do that. I've started talking about this already, so might as well just, at some point later maybe I might read this. Dude, you know what I did? Um, so I mean, I kind of want to make content creation like, my thing. I want to get that going in terms of just having a content creation presence online. So that includes a bunch of different things: streaming, YouTube, posting on TikTok and Threads and Instagram and stuff like that. I'm not giving too much importance to Twitter X, um, mostly because I'm not paying for it. So like, what ends up happening is, if you if you're not paying for it, they're not really going to push your posts all that much. So unless you manage to build a following in some other way, then your posts are mainly just going to go into the void. There's also the fact that on most other platforms, I'm able to post a much longer post than on Twitter. On Twitter, I'm limited to 280 characters, which it goes away if I pay for Twitter. If I pay for it, then I can make a much longer post. And uh, if I remember right, you can also put images into posts and all of that stuff. But I'm not paying for Twitter right now. Right, at some point later, if I do start paying for it, then yeah, I'll make full use of it by posting all the time over there. But for the time being, I'm limited to 280 characters. And if I have something long, which usually I do have, like a long post where there's like a bunch of text, then I have to kind of break it up into, chunks of 280 characters. And that's just, dude, no. To be fair, on Threads, also, I have to do that if my post is like really, really long. But on Threads, I have up to 500 characters per post, and then I have to break it up. So it's not as big of a, or I should say, it's not as annoying. It's not as much of an inconvenience as Twitter is. I would like to post on Twitter as well because I mean I want to share a lot of the um, both AI and electronics stuff that I'm doing, and there's a community for AI stuff on Twitter. I know because a lot of my AI related news I get it from Twitter. I get it from Twitter and Threads, but a lot of the people that I'm getting it from on Threads, they also post on Twitter, and I was following them on Twitter before I went and looked for them on Threads. So there's a fair bit of my AI news that I get from from Twitter, and where was I going with this? Yeah. So I know there's a community around, there's a massive community around both AI and electronics there. So like if I am sharing what I'm working on, then there's going to be an audience there as well. But for the time being, I'm posting on TikTok and Instagram and Threads. And yeah. So that is to say that I do want to kind of get like a content creation thing going. And so what I did is, because my attention tends to be like all over the place, and like I jump from one thing to another to another. What I did is I created a sort of template of daily tasks that I have to do. So it's like a daily to do list, and I know I'm not going to get through all of them. Um, but even if I get through like two or three of them in a day, that's great because I've made some progress. So there's stuff on there like um, daily, like Threads posts, TikTok posts, Insta posts. There's also this thing that I've actually known this for a while, but like I didn't really start doing it. But the basic idea is platforms like TikTok and Threads, they push your stuff a lot more if you're a regular poster. So if you regularly post and regularly interact with a bunch of people on these platforms, and you use various features of theirs, then they're going to push your posts a lot more. Otherwise, their algorithm, it's kind of a hit or miss, like whether it picks your stuff or not. So what I want to do is, because I'm trying to build, a presence online, I'm going to post anything, just anything, anything related to what I'm doing, which at the moment is mainly AI development, specifically AI development, or electronics, or general programming, or even game dev for that matter. It can be any of these things. I have an idea for creating a sort of content planning AI, or content creation planning AI. I have to craft a prompt that I'm going to feed into one of the language models, and I'm going to get it to give me ideas for daily content, and then work on that stuff. There's like I have ideas that I want to. So there's there's those things on the daily to do list. Then there's at least one ESP32 example. I haven't done that so far. I haven't done that so far. I haven't gotten to it. I still need to look into like the basics of ESP32. So I think I can replace the example thing with the basic topics. So I can create a list of basic topics that I need to get through, and each day I can try to go through at least one of those. And then there's this website called allaboutscircuits.com. It's a great, amazing resource. There's a lot of like electronics related stuff. I mean, it's in the name, all about circuits. Something incredibly helpful that they have for beginners in electronics, they have this textbook. It's a digital textbook. I don't know if they have a physical version. They do have, I think they do have a PDF version, um, which I don't remember what was the way to get it. There was a way, to get, I don't remember, but yeah, they have a they have the digital textbook online, and it's amazing. Like it goes from the very basics, like all the way back to like static electricity, and explain like that's how the textbook actually starts. And there's multiple chapters, and each chapter has multiple sections in it. There's a lot. If you're new to electronics, definitely start with that book. It's a lot to read. There's quite a bit to read there, so if you're in like a rush to jump into electronics, then maybe that's not for you. But if you're okay with sitting and reading a bunch of the stuff, a bunch of like the history, and then a bunch of theory, and then jumping into practical, then yeah, it's great for you. Now, the reason why I'm uh, taking the time to read it is specifically because of analog electronics. Because when it comes to digital electronics, I was able to jump into it pretty easily. I had like some knowledge of analog electronics, some very basic knowledge of setting up circuits and how to use resistors and how to connect things in series, how to connect them in parallel, how to do calculations, how to do very basic stuff using a resistor, a battery pack, an LED, and a switch, and additionally also a potentiometer. And that was very basic knowledge that I had, and eventually I was able to, you know, take that into microcontrollers and do a bunch of digital electronic stuff, because of which I was able to explore digital electronics a lot, and I got to learn quite a bit. But the interesting thing is, it's a good thing. It's a good thing, but also, like, I don't want to say bad thing. It's a good thing in that it how do I what am I trying to say here? What I'm trying to say is, okay, so you have digital electronics and analog electronics, right? When you start going deeper into digital electronics, you're dealing with a lot of high level stuff. And even when you're trying to go to the low level, a lot of the time you're still sticking with digital electronics. You're not always going down to the analog level. A lot of times, if you are dealing with like modules, for example, you're still not necessarily going to be dealing with analog stuff. Like if you're trying to implement a library for a specific module, you're still doing digital stuff. You're not like there are situations where you would go into analog and into the analog side of things, but there's quite a few situations where you're just sticking with digital. So it's a fair bit of high level stuff that you're doing there. Why was I saying this? Yeah. I want to get into a little bit of the analog stuff as well. I'm actually interested in some of the analog stuff as well, but to a certain extent, not going like really deep into it. And I know where I want to stop with this. Actually, I was talking about it. Let me open up. Nah. You guys can go to, or you can Google all about circuits, electronics textbook, and it'll show you the link to that textbook. It leads to the index of that textbook, and then you have like a bunch of the topics mentioned there, so you can select whichever topic you want and start reading. Now, with this textbook, I'm 100% not going to be reading the entire textbook. I am going to stop at a certain point, but there's quite a bit that I'm going to learn from this when it comes to analog stuff. The textbook also, interestingly enough, it does go into, like, dude, this goes from basics to really advanced stuff, including stuff like digital electronics, but like not the high level knowledge of digital electronics. It goes into how digital electronics are made. So it's going to teach you, like, from that, it's going to teach you the low level of digital electronics. Like, that's how advanced this book goes into when it comes to electronics. Now, I'm not going to be going into that. I'm going to get what I need from this textbook, which is a lot of the analog electronics stuff, more specifically DC. I'm not even going into AC because that's like a whole other that's like a whole other thing. I want to stick with DC, and yeah, I'll get whatever knowledge I need from it. And once I'm satisfied that I know I've learned the analog electronics related stuff that I wanted to learn, once I'm satisfied with that, then I'll just, leave. I'll continue with the other stuff that I was planning on doing. Now, why am I saying this? It's because added this. I added a task in my daily to do list, which is to read something from All About Circuits, or read something from that textbook that I was talking about. And yeah, I've been doing that. I I'm proud of that. I've been doing that. I've been, to a certain extent, keeping up with posting on Threads, posting on TikTok, posting on Insta. This is all part of my to-do list. I haven't been doing the ESP32 thing, so I need to get on that. There's a tutorial series that I need to work on for my channel. I need to start working on that, or well, continue working on that, because I'd started working a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, and then I just stopped. I've kind of been like working on it on and off. Then there's Unity research, because there's a fair bit of Unity related research that I want to do. I've noted down some topics for Unity research. Let me see if I can read them out. Yeah. So specifically packages related, I have the animation rigging package. I have the sorry, I got distracted because, so okay, where I live, like, nearby, there's a highway, and every now and then, especially at nighttime, you'll have like stupidly loud cars, like so loud that I don't think they're street legal, or at least that sound, I don't think it's legal. That loud cars are going to be passing by, so it kind of distracted me. Okay. um so animation rigging package, I want to look into that. I've been meaning to look into that for a while. Then I recently found out there's something called the behavior package, and I want to explore that because that seems like a very interesting concept. Rather than, like, okay, it allows you to create chunks of logic, and then create a graph and subgraphs as well, which use that which use those logic blocks in various ways. So you're not necessarily coding the flow, you're coding the chunks, you're coding the blocks of logic, and then you're creating a flow using one or more graphs, and each graph kind of dictates how different logic blocks get used. And you can do a lot of like advanced stuff in it, like well, I mean, to be honest, I haven't looked too deep into it, but I do know that you can you have like conditional stuff as well, that okay, if this, then execute that, and all of that. Basically, they made it so you can set up this flow with just logic blocks. Of course, someone still has to code those logic blocks, but what I find interesting is the fact that we have this graph that you can create, where you can define behavior essentially, which, you know funny enough, the package itself is called behavior. You can define behavior in the form of these graphs, and that can be really useful, especially when it comes to AI related stuff. In fact, I think that's how they are marketing this package. Let me show it to you. I can bring the thing up. real quick. Give me a second. Unity behavior. Yeah, I've been trying to find the right words to, describe this package, but it's probably better to just read everything off of the Unity manual itself. So, Unity Behavior is a visual tool for authoring behaviors that control NPCs, gameplay logic, objects, and scene interactions in Unity. Use Unity Behavior to control the interactions of multiple characters, orchestrate cinematic scenes, trigger timed or contextual events, and react to player actions. It takes the complexity out of behavior authoring, thereby bringing vision to life with ease. Unity refers to behavior trees as behavior graphs to highlight its advanced capabilities and added features. Unlike traditional behavior trees, behavior graphs in Unity behavior allow for nonlinear structures where branches can merge back, enabling more complex and interconnected behaviors. I like that they mentioned it's free to use Unity behavior. But yeah, this is the package. I need to look further into this. This is one of the packages that I need to further explore. Then what else? Then there was the Centis package. More specifically, actually, yeah. I need to explore all of Centis because I want to run AI models in Unity and more specifically Onyx models. So I've learned how to export PyTorch models to Onyx, and once I learn how to bring them into Unity, I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to have a more I'm going to have the ability to use graphics and a fair bit of other stuff as well, but I'll be able to use a 2D and 3D graphical environment to do stuff with neural networks, and I'm kind of excited for that. I want to. There's so much more experimentation that I have to do with this. Then there's the splines package. I never got a chance to explore that. Then I found something called the project auditor package. I think this gives you like a it gives you a bunch of stats about your project. I mean, I'm oversimplifying it. It probably does a bunch of other stuff as you know what. Okay, let's give you the proper information. Project auditor. Project auditor is a suite of yeah. Let's open this up. Right. Project Auditor is a suite of static analysis tools for Unity projects. It reports insights and issues about the scripts, assets, and code in your project and groups insights into a report that you can view in a dedicated Project Auditor window. So yeah, that's what this does. I need to look into this as well. What else? What else? Oh, three things that I've been super interested in for a while, but I've only been able to look into them on and off. Unity Dots, which is their entity component framework. Dots is their data oriented stack. I, to be honest, didn't get too much of a chance to dive too deep into it. Initially, one of my reasons for that was because their design it would change often. And so something that you learned previously, it could very well change later on. Now I think it's stabilized a lot more, like over the past couple of years, actually. Like this has been, dude. They were talking about. It wasn't even called DOTS initially. Initially, it was just called ECS, Entity Component System. And then later on, they changed the name to DOTS to include the entities package and the C sharp job system and probably a bunch of other things as well. So yeah, I need to look into dots and entities, and then the she what C sharp, the C sharp job system. That's a separate thing as well. You can use that outside of dots. So I wanna look into that as well, and that is another thing that I've been looking into, like on and off. I never really went too deep into it. And finally, there's the UI toolkit, which is it's a newer framework for UI development that Unity is working on. It's not fully feature complete, let's say. Like it hasn't completely replaced the old UI system, but there's a fair bit of stuff that you can do with it, including building in editor tooling. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really interested in it. Eventually, it's going to get to the point where you are able to use, like, eventually, Unity is going to get this thing to the point where you are able to use this toolkit to build in-game UI as well. I think to a certain extent you are able to use it now, but I don't remember what the limits are. Actually, let's look that up as well. Let's see if that situation has improved now or not, because they have a comparison chart that they show you, so you can decide whether you want to spend time learning UI toolkit or their old thing, which was called, I think, I forgot what it was called. Hold on, UI toolkit versus, I guess, UGUI. I'm not sure. Comparison of UI systems in Unity. That's what I'm looking for. Now, I don't know how old this is. Okay, so this is Unity 6. General considerations. Wait, hold on. Yeah, I forgot to switch out of BRB. Okay, so general consideration. The following table lists the recommended and alternative system for runtime and editor. Runtime being, you know, quote unquote in game. So for runtime, you would use Unity UI, which is their old system, and the alternative is UI Toolkit. And for the editor, the recommended system is UI Toolkit, and the alternative is IMGUI, which I believe that's older than. Oh yeah, dude, I remember. Hold on, I remember. Yeah, okay. IMGUI was the code-based thing, because even after UGUI came out, you were not able to use those UI tools. Like you could use UGUI tools or Unity UI tools to create UI for in-game stuff, but still to create in-editor tooling, you still had to do a bunch of coding. Like you had to code the UI, and that's what IMGUI was. And then they have another more comprehensive chart here. Yeah. So I definitely wanna. I'm pretty sure they're working to. I'm pretty sure they're working to move everything over to UI Toolkit, and UI Toolkit has. Dude, UI Toolkit is like a. It is like a whole thing of its own. Like it's a whole new way of creating UI. You are even able to create, like, well, you don't create it. There's boilerplate code created for you using CSS. Well, not exactly CSS. It's like it's a subset of CSS, or CSS with added features. I forgot what they call it. U something. Let me see if it shows up here. Hold on, hold on. I'm curious about this. It was CSS, but okay, let's go USS. Yeah. You can style your UI with Unity style with a Unity style sheet. USS files are text files inspired by CSS from HTML. USS syntax is the same as CSS syntax, but USS includes overrides and customizations to work better with Unity. So this is what I was talking about. Like the you are actually able to change the look using CSS or well USS. That's what I meant when I said like UI toolkit is like its own separate thing, and there's a whole bunch of extra features in there to help you do a bunch of different things. There's even like there's an in editor, or I should say it's an in editor UI designer, so you can like draw the UI within that window. And dude, that's great, especially for like, because we haven't been able to do that for in editor tooling. Like, I don't think we've ever been able to do that unless it was like, you know, someone else made a tool to be able to um, draw the UI. I haven't seen anything like that, at least officially from Unity. So seeing this is it's great. It's exciting for me. So yeah, this is another package that I need to look into. Um, but yeah, that's all under Unity research, and then there's I need to work on the game design for the deep learning game that I wanted to make, and finally there's and like this is all okay. I'm still reading my daily to do list. So I had mentioned previously that like I'm definitely not going to be getting through all of these things in one day. If I do, okay, great, but at least getting through a couple of them in a day, I'll be happy with that because that's some progress. The final thing is just a random topic. Like I would pick a random topic from my current to-do list and do research on that. For example, one thing that I have in the current to-do list, one random thing is I found I'm gonna call it T Kinter because I don't know if TK Inter. You know what? Hold on. Wait. Because okay, this is it's how do I say this? So the GUI framework being used here, at least from what I know, is the TK GUI framework. I don't know about the Inter thing. Hold on. How to pronounce TK Inter? Apparently, it's short for TK interface. Yeah, that makes sense. But I pronounce it as Takinter, Takinter, where the initial T is without a vowel sound. Takinter. Oh, oh, w- without a vowel sound. Okay, fine, whatever. TK enter. So I was looking into simple GUI options with Python because, I mean, one GUI option that I know that I actually use is Streamlit, but like Streamlit is a whole beast of its own. And with Streamlit, you're running a server and that's hosting a web page, and that web page has to be opened up in your browser, and your all of your coding is done like to build the UI in that browser. There's a whole lot of a setup, right? It's a very heavy thing. And I don't want to do that for like simple things. So if I ever want to create a quick and dirty application that needs very simple UI, what are my options? That's what I was looking for. And I found out that apparently ever since Python 3.7, tkinter gets shipped along with Python. So this is a GUI library that gets shipped with Python. When you install Python, this is just there. I don't think you even need to have it installed because like pre- previously what would happen is and this was like way back when if you were installing a certain library a certain package through Python and it had to interface with another library, you would have to have that other library installed as well. And this would happen a lot um, with UI and graphics and all related stuff because they would be interfacing with a C++ library or something like that. So that's one of the things that I was concerned about. I was like, okay, whatever library I'm looking at, I'm gonna need to make sure that it can work multi-platform, so there's less of a headache. And apparently, this is the thing. tkinter it gets shipped with Python. It's fairly, I mean, I want to say it's fairly primitive. It's fairly basic, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. Something incredibly basic. Just anything that gives you the ability to throw up some UI and have the user interact with that UI instead of having the user interact with um, a command line or a console window or something like that. Have a UI up. And yeah, I found out that this is apparently a thing. This like tkinter ships with Python now. Let me bring that up as well. And like I didn't know this, but like you can run the example. You can just run this. If you have Python installed, you can just run this example from the command line and it throws up a window with, well, it's a small window with like a title and a button. And when you click the button, then the text changes. So that shows like interaction happening and stuff like that. And yeah, dude, I'm so happy that I found out about this. And you can like go and look at the official tkinter or the official TK docs, or is it TK Enter docs? I don't remember. Yeah. Okay. So it says here the TK Enter package is a standard Python interface to the TK Enter to the TCL/TK GUI toolkit. Both TK and TK Enter are available on most Unix platforms, including Mac OS as well as on Windows systems. Great. So that solves the problem. This way, if I ever need very basic UI, um, I have this. Okay, now I'm 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 thinking about what we should do tomorrow because I do wanna stream again tomorrow. Uh, Basically, I want to get back into you know our regular streaming after what 2 weeks of not streaming. I think one more thing that I should add to this list, this current to-do list, is building the TTS thing. So this way, I'll at least have the TTS, the AI voice, if I'm not able to talk, and then that way I'll be able to do hopefully daily streams. Um, I'm also, dude. Okay, the all about circuits thing. The all about circuits thing. Just a second. Okay, so yeah, the all about circuits thing. If all I'm doing is reading there, I'm wondering if I could like start up a stream and like just title it electronics reading or read electronics or something like that. Yeah, dude, I had those mute streams. What did I call them? Were they called? It was something lab, wasn't it? I forgot what the name was. But yeah, what I'm wondering is, okay, so after this talking stream, I could fire up another stream for just reading. And I mean, to be honest, I could fire up that reading stream at any point during the day. Like at any point of the day, I could start up that stream. That's gonna definitely be a mute stream. There's gonna be no talking, no interaction. I mean, there will be interaction if anyone is interacting, but for the most part, I'm just gonna be reading that. I could do that as like a half an hour or 1 hour thing, and that way at least I'll get the reading done as well. You know, because this is literally like I'm just reading this specific task in my to do list is literally just me reading. This is actually a textbook, well, a digital textbook, but this is a textbook that I'm reading pages off of. And there's a bunch of pages for me to read. Um, so I might as well stream the reading, right? I'll have to change the dude, I'm lazy to change the tags. Even if it's just a reading stream, I'm lazy to change the tags because all of the other streams are going to be the usual, deep learning research and stuff. But this one stream is an electronics reading stream, so I don't want to change the tags for that. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. I don't know. I might try that tomorrow. Yeah, let's try that. I'll title the stream mute electronics reading stream or mute electronics study stream. Yeah, let's yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, now give me a second. Okay, cool. I found a person to raid. Hopefully, their chat is not follower on. Oh God, it's verified accounts only. Damn it. Never mind. I was excited. I found I found someone to raid. Um. Okay. Hold on. Nope. Another verified accounts only. Okay. Um. Right. Okay. So we are gonna. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna raid this person. Their name is Ash Weeb. I don't know if I've ever raided this person before, but yeah, we're gonna raid this person. By the way, shit, I almost forgot. Happy Pride Month, guys. Happy Pride Month. But yeah, this is gonna be the end of the stream. Hopefully, I'm gonna stream again tomorrow. I mean, do a talking stream tomorrow, and at the very least, I wanna do that the electronics study stream. Yeah, okay. So let me get the raid going. So we're gonna raid Ash Weeb, who is doing studies of something. That being said, guys, thanks for hanging out. Anyone who might have been lurking in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I'm able to stream again tomorrow, and hopefully we don't have any more unintended long vacations, let's say. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. I hope you guys have a nice day, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.